So when we observe the precepts in the Chinese Mahayana tradition, we usually have this verse behind, that you have undertaken the precepts or the refuge on precepts, then 谨慎莫放逸. Do you understand what it means? Phyllis, do you understand?
Something like you have to follow accordingly.
So more or less, 谨慎 means to be on the alert, to be vigilant. 莫放逸 means don't. 放逸 means to be slack. So to be diligent, to be vigilant, and not to be slack. So in a way, this is countering the 懒惰懈怠. So basically, to ask the students, you have taken up the practice, now you must practice hard. So then the reply is, the standard reply is 依教奉行. So so that means relying on, depending on what? Depending on 教, what has been taught, depending on the teaching. 奉行, practice in accordance. So depending on the teachings, depending what has been taught, practice accordingly.
Sifu, thank you for explanation. Thanks.
The 教 here refers to the closely related to the 谨慎莫放逸, but generally it also refers to the teachings. So so when we understand it, then you realize that the so-called ceremony in the Chinese Mahayana tradition are actual instructions, actual steps, not some etiquette, not some ritual. In Buddhism, there is actually no rituals, strictly speaking. But there are some which we adopted in the Chinese Mahayana tradition. We adopted some from the Taoist tradition, from the Chinese culture itself, or some of the rituals. That's more to suit Chinese, because Chinese are, not everybody will agree today, especially because Singaporean Chinese, Malaysian Chinese, we are quite different from ancient Chinese also. Even we ourselves, we are different from our parents, right? We ourselves, we are different from when we are young. So how can it be possible that Chinese is one monolithic from ancient times until now, right? But anyway, the things have developed and evolved. So any questions for today? Any questions? Venice says, allow me to leave first. No, cannot leave. Of course can leave, This is called a what kind of question? Is it rhetorical question? Don't have to be answered now. Any questions for today? Marcel, you got any questions from your side?
Okay, I can paste from Slido.
Okay. Hui Wen asks, Hui Wen has some question. How should I think or respond when someone tells me yoga Hindu ethics are similar to Buddhist teachings? Well, the first thing is we should understand that anyone can have any kind of opinion of their own. It doesn't mean that it's true. It doesn't mean it's correct. It's just like someone tell you, hey, your father and my father is actually the same person. We all actually have the same father. So of course, like when I say father, then people may get offended, right? It's like, huh? Like, we're yeah, clearly we are not the same. We are not from the same family. I used to try to imply that my father had an affair outside. Uh, so if we can get past the implication first, okay? We get past the implication first, and then we can just ask the person like, what's the basis for you to think that we have the same father? Then the person say, no, this is my father's photo. Your father look alike like mine. Look alike not enough. Must be exactly the same person. But the person can also just take a photo of your father and say, no, this is my father. Must still prove that that person is the daughter, is the son, right? Yeah. So when someone say, whether it's yoga, Hindu, ethics, or any other religion, if they say that these are similar, important is not the same. Similar. Similar is not the same. But let's cover both, okay? Let's cover the similar first. Similar is easier. So if someone say, now we change the statement. Hey, your father and my father are similar. Yeah. When people say they are similar, maybe we don't even have to say anything. It's like, oh, is it? Yeah. If they say it's the same, then maybe we have to say something. If they say it's similar, we don't have to say anything, but out of curiosity, we can also ask them, in what way are they similar? Right? Like for example, now if I say, hey, Hui Wen, your father and my father are similar. Then Hui Wen may be thinking, mine is alive, yours is dead, then how is it similar? Then I say, no, my father's surname Lim, your father also surname Lim. Oh, yeah. So there's one thing that is the same. So other things may not be the same. So altogether similar. Yeah. Then maybe Hui Wen may say, oh, besides that, what else is similar or the same? My father has two eyes. My father had two eyes, has had two eyes, one nose, one mouth, 2 ears, but sometimes don't use the ear much. Then Hui Wen say, oh yeah, same. It's quite similar, quite similar. My father also sometimes don't want to use the ear. Yeah, and so on. Okay. So if someone say that yoga, Hindu ethics, or even say Christianity teachings, or even say Islam teachings, or even say Taoist teaching, or even say Bahá'í teaching, or even say Jain teaching, or even say Zoroastrian teaching, and so on and so forth. Did I miss out any religion? Yeah, I think Singapore 10 major religion roughly there. So if anyone were to say similar, we say, oh, I see. Oh, that makes us closer, huh? But in what way are we similar? First, ask them to state their ground. Don't try to refute anything without knowing what they are trying to say. Yeah, because similar is a blank check. It's a very general term. Yeah, you jump in with a gun blazing, trying to refute. What are we trying to refute? Don't know what. We don't even know what they are trying to say. Nothing to refute. But if let's say now they say, oh, you have karma, we also have karma. That is true. Yeah, they have the term karma, we also have the term karma. But then we have to ask ourselves, why is it that both religion use the same term? Why? Yeah. So let me give you a parallel in modern times. For example, if you have a handphone, there is an Android phone, yeah, and then you have an iPhone, yeah, then can you say that they are similar? Yeah, in a way, right? They run apps, yeah, right? They run apps. Then they have certain functionality that are different, that are same. Some certain functionality that are different, yeah. Or if you compare Windows PC yeah, a PC running Windows operating system compared with another one running Mac OS. Then you can say that, oh, they are similar. Why? Because they all have similar names for certain things. For example, they have applications also in both sides, and the applications run in a window. Yeah, even though Microsoft Windows is called Windows, but even Apple call their app interface a window. Yeah, because all this concept came from Xerox. Yeah, the concept of having a window, except that Microsoft go and use the the application interface as the name of the operating system, Windows. Yeah. So just because two things have the same name doesn't mean that they are related. But your friend or someone is just saying that they are similar. So what is the implication of similar? We must find out. Yeah. Oh, they must find out. Similar, so what? Oh, just similar. Okay, yes, just similar, no problem. But if the person then say, you see, they are similar, Yeah, do you know why it's similar? Because it's created by the same God. Oh, then we must say, wait, hang on, ちょっと待ってください。お願いします。すみません。様々ですから。you must then highlight, although it is similar, but it doesn't mean that it's from the same source, the same founder, the same religion. Yeah, just as Apple and Windows computer, yeah, or phone, they have similar terms with similar functionality, but they are clearly from two different companies, right? So cannot say that they are same, that they have the same source. So then within the context of yoga, Hinduism and Buddhism, then we have a bigger problem. And this is a fact, okay? Not criticizing any religion. In Hinduism, at some point, they have this idea that Buddha is a manifestation of, I think, Vishnu or Krishna. I think it's Vishnu. Yeah. So then the question, so by saying that, then it's like, oh, actually Buddhism is created by the Hindu gods. So we are one big family. Yeah. So it's not uncommon to see Buddha statue in a Hindu temple also. Yeah. And it's not uncommon for Hindus to go to Buddhist temple and pray. Now this is very similar, not the same, very similar to in China or in Singapore last time, and maybe to some extent even now, to see Buddha images in Taoist temple also. And even in Buddhist temple, to see Taoist statues also. Yeah. So this is a process called assimilation. Yeah, assimilation. That means you absorb and integrate what is from another group into your group. You absorb, then become sort of mixed together. Yeah, mixed together. Now, during one of the talk, interfaith talk at one of the school, at the reception, one of the religious leader, can't remember whether it was the Hindu. I think it was the one of the imam, and we were talking, and then because my slide always highlight that Buddhism don't have a belief in the creator God, I highlight this all the time, because people just cannot wrap their head around a religion without a creator God, but Buddhism doesn't have one. Yeah. So then how? So one of the priests, I think is the should be the one of the imam, either the imam or one of the Sikh priests. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's Sikhism also. Sikhism and Hinduism is different, Yeah, but I think the imam said, he heard the Dalai Lama say that the Buddhism and Hinduism, the difference is If you take out the ritual of Hinduism, inside you basically find Buddhism. He claimed that the Dalai Lama said that. And I was like, really? I never heard of this, but I cannot just say, no, he didn't say that. Yeah, I cannot just say that. So I asked him, where do you hear this from? He said, oh, he heard this at a conference in Australia. So then that gave me some alarm bell, because I seldom hear Dalai Lama going to Australia. He's in Dharamsala, he's in US, he's in UK. Maybe he go to many places. I rarely hear that he go to Australia. Yeah. And especially if it's a major conference where he makes such a statement, or it'd be in the Buddhist circle news. Yeah. And I've been, I mean, in a way, I've been active since my teenage years. So cannot possibly not have heard of this story. So then I said, well, I can't say for sure that he wasn't there and he didn't say that, but you'll be curious that he should say that, because the Dalai Lama comes from the Gelug tradition, Gelugpa, right? He's from Gelugpa, and Gelug tradition has a history of masters who debated with many other schools. Yeah, they have a lot of their masters are very great debaters. Yeah, they don't, and especially in their tradition, they still have this tradition of doing debate within their community to make sure you really understand the teaching. Yeah, the person who is defending the statement sit down there, and then maybe one, maybe two, maybe a whole bunch of them ask them question. So I'm like, if you look at the different treatises, the different commentaries over the centuries, yeah, from Venerable Nagarjuna Bodhisattva's time all the way up to modern times, they have never ever accepted the teachings from the Brahminic tradition. Yeah, they have never accepted the Vedas as a source. So how is it possible that the Dalai Lama suddenly, actually we are same? But I said it's highly unlikely. So based on the person you said supposed to have said that statement. Then further, in the Buddha's time, Brahmins repeatedly came to see the Buddha and try to assert the Vedic teachings, but the Buddha refuted them. And in fact, some of the chief disciples of the Buddha, some of the disciples of the Buddha were Brahmins. Yeah. And when they came to try to challenge the Buddha, they were defeated. And then they became convinced that the Buddha's teaching is correct, and they became Buddhist monks. Yeah. Or in some cases, Buddhist lay followers. That being the case, how is it possible that the Buddha was actually a manifestation of Vishnu, but the Brahmins didn't know? And how is it possible that the Buddha is a manifestation of Vishnu or any one of the god, but then end up refuting their own teachings? Yeah. And that's why it's also important to know a bit of other religion, but even more importantly, know our own religion very well. Yeah. Otherwise, when people say this, what have we to say? Come on. The only reason why there are similarities in the terms is simply because they came from that same place. You don't expect the Buddha to create a new language just to be different, right? The Buddha don't do such things. Yeah, in fact, the Buddha used very simple, ordinary, day-to-day terms, yeah, but give it a new meaning. Yeah, give it a new meaning. He did use the term Brahmin to refer to his monks, yeah, but he gave it a new meaning, or rather, he used the old meaning. Old meaning in a sense, he said the word Brahmin actually refers to purity. That's why when we recite the 8 precepts, number 3, right? 不非凡恨. The 凡恨 is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya. So it is referring to the not practicing the the Brahmin practices. It's not that. It's saying to abstain from impurity. Yeah, that means the practice that is not pure, and in this case, sexual activity. So he actually reused some terms that was common back then, but give it a different layer of meaning. And then in many suttas, the Buddha referred to the Arahants and said, these are the true Brahmin. Yeah. And what was the context? Because he said a Brahmin is someone who is pure, not by birth, but by body, speech, and mind. Yeah. Because Brahmin means a pure one. So if you are a pure one, it's not by birth, but I'm not saying Hinduism today, but the priests in the Buddha's time, they claim to be pure simply by birth. By birth, they are pure. So in one particular sutra, the Buddha actually refuted that. The Buddha refuted that not by just arguing his way out, but by asking the Brahmin, saying, consider this. If a Brahmin, a Kshatriya, a merchant, or a laborer, basically the four castes that was prevalent in the Buddha's time, yeah, if any of these four were to commit killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, or lying, would this person not be censored? Would this person not be blamed? Would this person not be prosecuted by the king, up to even having the head cut off? And then the Brahmin said, indeed, yeah, he will be dealt with in this way. Yeah. Then the Buddha asked, would this person not be considered to be impure, to be unwholesome? He said, yes. So he said, well, in that case, then even a Brahmin, regardless of which caste you are born in, which family you are born in, not by birth are you considered pure, are you considered impure, right? It's through your actions. Then the Buddha asked, if any of these four types of caste were to abstain from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, or lying, would this person not be praised, not be considered to be pure, not to be considered to be wholesome? They say, yes, of course, this person will be considered as pure, wholesome, and so on. Yeah. Then he say, in which case it's not by birth, isn't it? Yeah. And in this sutta and in many other suttas, the Brahmins were who came to assert that purity by birth is valid, were refuted, defeated, and some of them became the Buddha's disciples as a result. Not all, not all. Okay. Yeah. So, so in many sutras, including like 8 precepts, Brahmacharya, yeah, the Buddha makes references to the term Brahma, makes references to the term Brahmin, not because he subscribed to Hinduism, not because he is a manifestation of Vishnu or any other creator god, but he was using a term that was common at the point in time. And in reference to that, he said, these are the true Brahmins, because the Arahants are truly pure by body, speech, and mind, not by birth. So, depending on whether the person accepts that yoga, Hindu ethics are similar or the same, and depending on what implication they purport, then we have to listen first and then respond accordingly. Okay.
Thank you, Shifu.
Got follow-up question?
No, just want to explain that, like, why I asked this question, because since
I explain first.
since young, because me and my sister grew up in a nominal Buddhist family, so but recently my sister got more interested in the yoga Hindu practices. So she told me that, oh, because they are similar, so she's more interested in yoga Hindu. So I'm just concerned that because she thinks they are similar, so she's practicing the similar similar teachings. Yeah, so actually I'm okay with like whatever she's doing, but I'm just concerned that she may have a wrong or like a misconception as to what she's doing.
Well, yes. I actually have some students who learn yoga and then become yoga instructors and also told me similar things that actually quite similar. So I said, yeah, similar is one thing, yeah, but the emphasis is different. From what little I know, I'm not an authority of Hinduism as well. I know a bit, but I'm not an authority. I didn't go and read the four Vedas. So from what I know, like the term yoga itself, it means to connect. In fact, the very commentary I'm translating with my Dharma brother that we use in our lineage is called Yogacara Bhumi Sastra, 瑜伽师地论, yeah, or 瑜伽师地论. There's another pronunciation which is 瑜伽师地论. That is very close to yoga. Yeah, it's actually the same term. Yeah, so it's again one of the example of how Buddhist masters use existing terms but give it a twist. Because in Hinduism, whether they practice yoga or Ayurvedic practices and so on, all this is part of the four Vedas. Yeah, from what I know. So if you hear from your sister or Hindu priest or somebody, correct me if I'm wrong. But from what I've heard is that they do all these practices ultimately to connect with Brahma. Yeah, after a person die, then if they have this idea, there's a big soul and the small soul. Yeah, the great Atman and the small Atman. Small Atman is the self, right? So if it's not pure enough, then cannot connect with Atman, with the Brahma. So have to get reborn again. Take reincarnation. To reincarnate means to become flesh again. So from the soul, which is not flesh, to take a form of having flesh. Reincarnation has that connotation. Yeah. So then they're supposed to go through purification, moksha, go through purification. Then one day when they are pure, then they can connect with Brahma. So in the Yogacara Bhumi Sastra, we also use the term connect. Yeah. So connect with what? Instead of connecting with Brahma, we say, in order to be liberated, you must connect with ultimate reality. 与圣义地相应，与地义地相应。名之为瑜伽。So there are many terms that Buddhist monks, masters over the centuries have used that were already prevalent. Yeah, but we give it a different angle in order to do what? So that it's a concept that they can understand. It's like now if you come out with a new phone, new OS, like remember Android was a new thing. When Android was a new thing, they didn't come out with a totally new interface that nobody understands. They use existing interface that people can understand. You have Apple has an app store. They come out with a Play Store, right? So similar enough for people to understand, but with a slight twist. So Buddhism was a new religion. So the Buddha and the masters adopted this approach. Okay, let me try to answer the rest of the questions. Mayan asks, morning Shifu and everyone. Shifu, Wugen is 5 senses. Can I check what is Wu Jing, Wu Chen in English? So Wugen, usually we say 6 senses, then connected to the 五尘为境. So 色身香味触法. So form, sound, smell, taste, touch, and mental objects. Okay. Okay. Can.
Thank you.
So Xiao Fang asks, Morning Shifu, if after trying to explain to the other party about Buddhism and its difference from what they perceive, but their perception is so deeply seated, or usually we use the term deeply seated, yeah, so it's seated, but seated can also have another meaning, that they can no longer listen but try to convince us with their twisted idea of Buddhism. Should I just switch the topic since they are not ready to listen, taken that this person is actually a very nice person? This is the problem of a nice person. If a person is nasty, we can argue until the cow come back. But if person nice, person nice, then how? We don't feel so good to argue with a nice person. So we must be nicer. To me, I rarely care whether the person is nice or not. I only care whether what you say makes sense or not. If it don't make sense, the nicer you are, the more I want to talk to you. The niceness of the person doesn't change whether the person is saying the truth or not the truth. Yeah. If a very nice person come and tell Xiao Fang that you are a boy, then does it mean that you become a boy? No, ma. You're not a boy means you're not a boy, ma. Yeah. So so the question is, let's take the nice part aside now. Let's take the nice part aside. If the person is very entrenched, very deeply seated in their mindset, yeah, should we just switch topic? So let me just offer a guess, okay, that of why Xiao Fang would want to switch topic, especially because the person is not very nice. Is it because you are afraid that if you continue, then the atmosphere may become tense, the relationship may sour? Is it because of that? Maybe, most likely, right? Yeah. So now the question is, does it mean that if we were to continue discussion, it must become sour? It doesn't have to be, or doesn't have to be. What I find most useful is when a person make such a statement or have such an idea, ask the person to sit down, make a cup of tea or coffee, up to you, and then take a piece of paper and then write down what the person had to say and let the verify with that person. So just by doing this setup, will remove a huge chunk of unnecessary discussion. Why? Because number one, first of all, when you do that, some people will feel like, have to be so serious right now. Then you know who are the serious one, who are not the serious one. Don't have to argue. Yeah. The moment you write down those who are not so serious, when we say not so serious means they are not so ready to defend their point, or they are not so clear about their own point. Yeah. Or their point doesn't have actual substance to be written down. So without saying that they don't have substance, you let them decide. If they have substance, they are very happy to say, oh, come, yeah, we are good. Yeah, let's write it down. So that removes a huge chunk of people who just like to make flippant statements. All religions same lah. Oh, right now, what is the first thing you think is the same? Just say only ma. Why you so serious? Oh, okay, can. Then it's say only say only, then I just hear only. No? A lot of people like to just say only, Say only. Anyone can say. Yeah, but so don't have to take everybody's saying seriously unless they are serious about it. Yeah, so beyond that, if they are ready to have it written down, then just write down. Lor. Don't start writing trying to disprove them. Write down to try to understand them first, to know them, to know what they are trying to say. Because sometimes they genuinely think that what they know is true, but when the moment you write it down, then they look at it, then they realize, oh, you mean that's what I think? uh, this method works very well for counseling. Yeah. Oftentimes when I do counseling, I write things down. And there's a technique that I learned from counseling, which is let's say couples are quarreling, right? Get them to write down, then switch, and then ask them to read out what the other person had to say. When they hear another person say, huh? Did I really say that? Yeah. Or they start to realize the gravity of what they are saying. Oh, yeah. So I'm addressing this question more in terms of how to address a difference, but not specifically about the differences, as far as what Xiao Fang is asking. So Xiao Fang further says, the person is coming from the perspective of Bahá'í. So Bahá'í faith, yes, it is the idea of creator God. Bahá'í is a very interesting religion. It is a fairly Bahá'í is interesting because from what I know, they kind of accept every other religion also. Yeah, so they are very interesting. They don't say, oh, I pray to the Baha'i God and then Christian God I don't pray to. They say, actually, it's all one God. And these days at interfaith circles, it's quite common for individuals from various religions to make such a claim. Yeah. Although I sometimes wonder whether it is out of the wish for interfaith or do they truly believe in that? Yeah. But I don't know. We shouldn't question or doubt people's motivation, right? Yeah, but they have this notion. Yeah, and that's why when I go to interfaith dialogue, I always have to have one slide. Buddhists do not subscribe to the belief in a creator God. Yeah. Some students feel uncomfortable when I make such a stand. My mom don't feel comfortable because she's afraid that I'll get into trouble. Yeah, that I'm attacking other religions. I said, no, I'm not attacking. I'm stating that we don't have such a belief. It's true. These are beliefs, but it's not a fact, right? Any religion can say that it's a fact that the world is created by God. If it's a fact, then it's not a belief. Then how come everybody keep talking about faith? If it's a fact, why do you have to faith? Planes can fly, it's a fact. You don't have to have faith that a plane will fly. When you take up your phone and you call your friend, you don't have to have faith. You know it will work. This is a fact, you know. So faith and fact are different. Yeah. So I don't have such a belief in the of a creator God. There's nothing wrong. Why must I have a belief? You know. So, but for those with such a belief, and if they have accepted such a belief for a long time, it may be hard for them to comprehend how a religion can function without such a belief. Yeah. So we have to understand why they cannot understand. Okay, and that's why they can. It's easier, or maybe it's the one way for them to understand other religion, including Buddhism. And so most people take Buddha as just another God. Yeah. Or for that matter, their God also. Yeah. So good to perhaps sit down with your friend or that person who is from Baha'i to ask them, let me see. Well, actually, you didn't really, as I said, I'm not addressing the difference because you didn't really state what similarity or differences there are that this person is asserting. Yeah, but there's a high chance it will be that actually we are all the same. There's a high chance because Baha'i, that's the impression I have after all the years of interfaith dialogue. Yeah, I think it's a beautiful approach towards interfaith. Yeah. Unfortunately, I wonder whether this is a truthful representation. To me, true interfaith respect and harmony comes from understanding, knowing the differences, not glossing over the differences, not whitewashing it, not assuming that we are the same, that's why we are friends, but to know that we are different and yet choose to be friends. That is true friendship. 阿弥陀佛。愿消三障诸烦恼，
愿消三障，
愿得智慧真明了，
愿得智慧真明了，
不愿罪障悉消除，
不愿罪障悉消除，
世世常行菩萨道。
世世常行菩萨道。
阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛。
Till we meet again, may be guided and protected by the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And as always,
乖乖，谢谢师父。
阿弥陀佛. Have a truly harmonious day ahead. Take care, stay safe, bye bye.
谢谢师父。
谢谢